In 2016, at the paradise-like tourist destination of Sanya, a peaceful morning was shattered by a piercing scream near the pool of a luxurious villa. A lifeless body floating on the water triggered a series of mysteries and questions. What truly happened on that fateful night? Who was the last person to see the victim? Was it an accident or a meticulously calculated murder? Don't take your eyes off the screen. Stay tuned until the end of this video to uncover the dramatic and perplexing details of today's case. Terrifying discovery in the resort pool. On August 21st, 2016, in Sanya, Hainan, China, a group of young college students eagerly embarked on their first trip together. They had chosen Sanya, one of the most renowned resort destinations in China. After months of being busy with their studies, the group decided to rent a high-end villa, fully equipped, to enjoy a luxurious space filled with sunshine and sea breeze. The group was in high spirits, with everyone laughing and chatting joyfully. However, an unexpected event occurred the following morning. Just as the sun rose high in the sky, one of the group members, who had a habit of waking up early, stepped out onto the balcony to soak in the morning sunlight and breathe in the fresh air. From the balcony, his eyes suddenly froze on the pool. A horrifying sight greeted him. The body of a man floating motionlessly in the water, completely naked. At first, he thought it was a prank, but as he moved closer, a sense of unease crept in. The pool's crystal-clear water contrasted starkly with the pale skin of the body. Panic-stricken, he let out a loud scream to alert the others. The sound of hurried footsteps echoed as the group rushed to the pool. They were all stunned, too shocked to touch the drifting body. One of the girls, trembling but trying her best to stay calm, called the police. When the police arrived, they immediately cordoned off the area. Officers swiftly moved around the pool, some searching the villa, while others began questioning the students. As the sun climbed higher, casting its rays on the villa, it starkly contrasted with the chilling atmosphere surrounding the pool. The tranquility of the morning had been obliterated by this mysterious death. The group remained overwhelmed with shock and confusion as the body slowly drifted closer to the pool's edge. The pale corpse was clearly visible under the water. The victim's arms and legs were outstretched, floating on the surface. His face and lips were blue, his mouth slightly ajar. Around his neck and arms were faint bruises, hinting at a brief struggle before submerging into the water. His eyes were still wide open, adding to the haunting scene. After the body was brought ashore, the forensic team quickly arrived to examine it. They found water in the victim's lungs, indicating a high likelihood of drowning. However, the pressing questions remained. Why was he naked? And what had transpired during the night that the group had no knowledge of? Victim's identity and initial police assessment. Investigators collected water samples from the pool to check for traces of toxins, alcohol, or sedatives. On the poolside, they found a towel haphazardly thrown aside and the victim's neatly folded clothes on a nearby chair. After examining the scene, police found no signs of disturbance or forced entry in other areas of the villa. The group of students confirmed that the doors had been locked from the inside, and all entrances remained intact. Police began questioning each member of the group. The victim was identified as Fan Yongdong, a 21-year-old third-year economics student at Chongqing University. The group members recounted that they had arrived in Sanya on the afternoon of August 20th, renting a luxurious villa to unwind after an intense academic term. That evening, they held a party in the villa's front garden, drinking and having fun until around 2 a.m. They then went to their respective rooms to sleep. No one knew that Yongdong had left his room to go to the pool, or what had happened after everyone had gone to bed. In the pool, police found 2 wine glasses and an empty bottle of wine. A series of wet footprints led from the pool into the villa, but details about who last interacted with the victim remained unclear. When the forensic team examined the body, they found the victim was completely naked. Faint bruises were visible around his neck, wrists, and ankles, suggesting a brief struggle before he was submerged. It was likely the perpetrator restrained the victim and forced him underwater. The victim's pale, swollen skin, particularly on his hands and feet, indicated prolonged immersion in the water. Forensics estimated that the victim had been submerged for 5 to 6 hours before being discovered. Additionally, signs of bloating, water retention in the body, further confirmed extended immersion. Rigor mortis had set in, allowing forensic experts to conclude that the time of death occurred approximately 5 to 6 hours earlier. The preliminary cause of death was determined to be drowning. At the scene, investigators noticed a significant amount of water splashed onto the pool side, consistent with a struggle in the water. However, due to the presence of the wine glasses and bottle in the pool, the water had likely erased most traces of fingerprints or DNA evidence from the perpetrator. Police searched the victim's bedroom in the villa. His suitcase was partially unpacked, with clothing still scattered inside. The only clue was a shattered phone lying near the bed. Authorities seized the phone, hoping to recover data from the memory card, though the chances of full recovery were slim. Elsewhere in the villa, police found no suspicious evidence. Finally, they examined the surveillance system around the property. The villa was equipped with 4 cameras, one in the front garden, 2 in the living room, and 1 in the second-floor hallway. Notably, there was a camera installed near the pool area. However, upon inspection, police discovered that 3 of the villa's cameras had been disabled, leaving only the front garden camera functional. The villa's management confirmed that all cameras were operational before the group checked in. This raised suspicion that the perpetrator deliberately tampered with the cameras to conceal their crime. The villa was located in a relatively remote area, far from the city center and popular tourist spots, leaving police without nearby witnesses or neighbors. This increased the likelihood that the perpetrator was someone within the victim's group of friends. At present, the 4 remaining members of the group gave consistent statements, with no one admitting to being the last person to see Fan Yongdong alive. Police concluded that the victim had been forcibly drowned in the pool following a struggle. The mild signs of violence on his body, the wet footprints leading into the villa, and other evidence indicated that this was not an accident but a premeditated murder. Evidence at the scene and close relationships within the group fueled the theory that the victim had a personal conflict with someone in the group. After an intimate encounter, tensions escalated into a fight, ultimately leading to the victim being drowned in a fit of rage. The police transferred the body to the forensic lab for further investigation, hoping to uncover the truth behind this mysterious death. Forensic report unveils victim's sexual history. After the body was transported to the morgue, the forensic team conducted an autopsy to clarify the cause of death. Examination of the victim's internal organs revealed water in the lungs, confirming that the victim died from drowning. When the lungs were opened, water flowed out of the alveoli, and this sample was later compared to the pool water collected earlier by police. The results showed a match, affirming that the victim was drowned in the pool. Additionally, the autopsy revealed classic signs of drowning, including cyanosis around the lips, fingertips, and toes caused by oxygen deprivation. The victim's face retained an expression of panic after death, as indicated by wide-open eyes, pale skin, and blue lips. Bruises were found on the neck, wrists, ankles, and shoulders, suggesting the victim had been restrained and unable to resist when forced underwater. The forensic team examined beneath the victim's fingernails for DNA or skin fragments, a critical lead in such cases. However, since the victim was killed in the pool, most evidence had been washed away. Further examination searched for signs of sexual activity prior to death, uncovering irregularities in the anal area, along with bruising on the buttocks. While no semen was found on the victim's body, These findings confirmed he had engaged in homosexual activity before being killed. Blood samples from the victim were tested for alcohol, stimulants, or sedatives. Results showed a low blood alcohol concentration, but detected the presence of a sexual stimulant. This suggested the perpetrator might have used the substance to coerce the victim into sexual activity before drowning him in the pool. Forensics also analyzed the degree of rigor mortis and time of death. The body showed early stages of rigor mortis, with pale, bluish skin. Based on these findings, they concluded that the victim had been in the water for approximately 5 to 6 hours before being discovered, placing the time of death between 3 and 4 a.m. on August 21st. The forensic report concluded that the cause of death was drowning due to being forcibly submerged. The victim had died between 3 and 4 a.m., 5 to 6 hours before being found. Bruises and signs of struggle on the body indicated that he was attacked and drowned. The report also confirmed the victim had engaged in homosexual activity before death. Based on the forensic findings, police developed several initial theories. They suspected the perpetrator might be male, given the victim's prior homosexual encounter. However, they did not rule out the possibility that the perpetrator was a woman who exploited the victim's intoxicated and drugged state to commit the crime. Another theory suggested that the victim might have had particular sexual preferences involving stimulation tools, but this was not substantiated due to the lack of semen or related evidence at the scene or on the victim's body. Investigators examined evidence collected at the scene for DNA, fingerprints, or any clues to identify the perpetrator. However, most traces near the pool had been washed away. The 2 wine glasses and the bottle of wine yielded no conclusive results. The victim's clothing carried only his own DNA and fingerprints, with no indications of another individual's involvement. When reviewing footage from the villa's front garden camera, police corroborated the group's statements. The group had a barbecue, ate, and played games in the area. All members were present, and no one exhibited unusual behavior. By around 1:38 a.m., members began leaving the garden one by one. The camera recorded nothing suspicious and no strangers entering the villa during the time of the incident. On August 23rd, the victim's family arrived to identify the body. A woman, identifying herself as Fan Yongdong's mother, confirmed the body as her son. The devastating news left her in unbearable grief and denial. Suspicions about the victim's romantic relationships. The victim's mother, Fanjin, 46, revealed that she had raised her son alone for many years, with only the 2 of them relying on each other. In addition to enduring the pain of losing her child, she was surprised when the police inquired about her son's sexual orientation. She explained that Fan Yongdong had never shared details about his personal relationships, and she had no reason to suspect he was homosexual, even though his appearance was somewhat feminine and petite compared to the average man. According to Fanjin, Fan Yongdong was not an outstanding student, but his academic performance was decent. She had never heard him mention having conflicts or grudges against anyone. However, what little she knew about her son raised unanswered questions. During the investigation, the police focused on the group of friends who accompanied the victim to Sanya. The group consisted of 5 people, including a couple. The trip was proposed by Huang Jin, a fellow student of the victim. Huang Jin stated that after completing their exams, he suggested the group visit Sanya because he knew someone with a villa for rent in the area. The couple in the group, Wu Dengqin and Han Minhua, claimed they had met the others at a university party and quickly became friends due to shared interests. However, this couple had only recently become acquainted with Fan Yongdong, which was not enough time to create major conflicts or disputes. Han Minhua's testimony introduced a significant detail. She was quite close to another girl in the group, Chun Huishi. According to Han Minhua, Huishi and Yongdong had previously been in a romantic relationship but had since broken up. The breakup left Huishi deeply hurt. particularly because of the reason Yongdong gave for ending their relationship. Yongdong told Huishi that he was breaking up with her because he had realized he was homosexual. This made Huishi feel betrayed. She believed he had deceived her and used his sexuality as an excuse to mask his own shortcomings. In their relationship, Yongdong often spoke about his painful past, sharing that he had been bullied and ridiculed for his feminine appearance. He revealed that he had endured insults and emotional neglect from a young age. Growing up in such circumstances left him feeling deeply scarred and emotionally deprived. Chun Huishi, who had grown up like a princess, receiving unconditional love and never having to worry about finances, entered the relationship hoping to make up for Yongdong's painful past. She wanted to provide him with the care and affection he lacked. Yongdong, fully aware of the pitiable image he projected, took advantage of Huishi's sympathy, frequently asking her for expensive items. His student life was almost entirely funded by his girlfriend. After the breakup, Huishi was devastated, not only because of the emotional loss, but also because she felt deceived. Although the two had broken up some time ago, Han Minhua did not observe any extreme behaviors or actions from Huishi toward herself or Yongdong. However, she provided this information to the police, believing it might serve as a significant lead. Unrequited love, suspicion of motive. Wu Dengqin, one of the group members, did not have a particularly close relationship with anyone. The person he spoke with most often was Huang Jin. As they both shared a passion for soccer, they frequently gathered with other soccer enthusiasts to watch matches. Wu Dengqin also asserted that he had never observed any unusual interactions between Chen Huishi and Fan Yongdong. According to his statement, the group had an enjoyable evening on the night of the incident, grilling food and drinking while sharing stories. When asked if someone in the group might have killed Yongdong out of romantic motives, Wu Dengqin initially appeared puzzled. After some thought, he recalled a story that Huang Jin had shared during a drunken conversation after a soccer match. According to Wu Dengqin, Huang Jin had confessed that he harbored romantic feelings for Yongdong. After hearing from Huishi that Yongdong had come out as gay, Huang Jin mustered the courage to confess his feelings to him. However, Yongdong rejected him, leaving Huang Jin deeply hurt. Fearing that their friendship might be damaged, Huang Jin became cautious and reserved in his interactions with Yongdong. Although Yongdong continued to behave normally, Huang Jin later discovered that he was dating another man. This revelation devastated Huang Jin, who turned to heavy drinking on one occasion after a soccer match and poured out the entire story to Wu Dengqin. With this information, the police concluded that both Huang Jin and Huishi had potential romantic motives for committing the crime. However, based on the nature of their conflicts and their attitudes, Huishi emerged as the more likely suspect. Huishi not only felt emotionally betrayed, but also suffered financial losses. The reason for their breakup, which she found unacceptable, further intensified her potential motive. To investigate this suspicion further, the police visited Huishi's residence to continue their inquiries. A love story and a breakthrough from phone images. Chen Huishi lived in a centrally located home in Chongqing, though not very large. Its prime location reflected her family's affluence. She was not surprised when the police came to question her, as she had anticipated their visit. During the interview, she admitted to having dated Yongdong in the past. While they were together, Yongdong relied heavily on her financial support to live a lavish lifestyle. However, Huishi insisted she never minded the money spent on him, viewing it as a minor expense. She was happy to spend money if it brought him joy. Her friends had advised her to end the relationship, warning that Yongdong seemed two-faced. To Huishi, he presented himself as pitiful, weak, and emotionally deprived due to a difficult childhood filled with bullying and neglect. However, behind her back, he was arrogant and exploitative. Although there was no solid evidence that he was unfaithful, Her friends cautioned her that someone who loved her only for money might leave as soon as they found someone wealthier. Despite these warnings, Huishi was deeply infatuated and ignored their advice. Continuing the relationship, it was only when Yongdong broke up with her, claiming he had realized he was gay, that she felt regret for having trusted and loved someone who ultimately deceived her. According to Huishi's testimony, the amount of money she spent on Yongdong during their relationship was significant, enough to buy an expensive car. Despite her anger and feelings of betrayal, she denied any involvement in his death. She explained that she initially had no intention of joining the trip to Sanya organized by Huang Jin. However, her friend Han Min Hua persistently persuaded her, saying it was a rare chance to travel with friends and her boyfriend. Eventually, Huishi agreed. During the trip, she claimed to have avoided much interaction with Yongdong. Even during the barbecue party on the night of the incident, Huishi admitted she had once hated Yongdong for deceiving her and suspected he fabricated his claim of being gay to end their relationship. But after hearing from Huang Jin that Yongdong had begun dating another man, she gradually came to accept the truth. She stated that love is unpredictable and cannot be controlled. She firmly denied having any motive or reason to kill Yongdong, adding that she did not engage in any unusual sexual activities. As suggested by the forensic findings, the police found no direct evidence to incriminate her and temporarily recorded her statement while keeping her under close surveillance. At the same time, the recovered data from Yongdong's phone provided a major breakthrough. Among the files were intimate photos of Yongdong with another man. The man appeared older, and further investigation revealed his identity, Huang Shu, a member of the group and the uncle of Huang Jin. This revelation was shocking. Huang Shu was a married man with a daughter, yet the photos showed a clear romantic relationship with Yongdong. The photos were recent, unmistakably capturing an extramarital affair. The discovery led the police to conclude that the perpetrator could be none other than Huang Jin. This connection, along with the motive stemming from romantic jealousy and betrayal, marked a pivotal turning point in the case, bringing the investigation closer to uncovering the full truth. The police manhunt. The perpetrator confesses. Upon reviewing Huang Jin's recent schedule, police discovered that he was scheduled to depart for South Korea in just 3 days as part of a student exchange program. This added significant urgency to the investigation, as they needed to identify the suspect and prevent him from leaving the country. Based on their findings, the police pieced together the primary motives behind the crime. First, Yongdong's extramarital affair with Huang Jin's uncle, Huang Shu, created a volatile situation that could provoke hatred or criminal action. Second, Wu Dingqin's testimony that Huang Jin had romantic feelings for Yongdong but was rejected further reinforced the suspicion that he had a motive to commit murder. The case revealed a complex web of emotions. Huang Jin not only harbored unrequited love for the victim but also discovered the affair between Yongdong and his own uncle. This revelation likely caused a psychological shock, driving him to commit the crime. Although physical evidence such as fingerprints, DNA, or surveillance footage was lacking, the circumstances pointed to a closed-circle crime. The murder occurred within the villa, with only 5 people present. No external individuals entered or left the premises during the time of the incident, making Huang Jin the prime suspect. To prevent the suspect from leaving the country, the police gathered sufficient grounds to detain Huang Jin for further questioning. When the police arrived at Huang Jin's residence, they found the house locked from the outside. After further investigation and continuous tracking of his movements, they located him at a friend's house. During this time, he had not returned to his home. As the police approached, Huang Jin realized their presence and attempted to flee. However, he was unable to evade capture and ultimately succumbed to the police pursuit. Initially, Huang Jin provided conflicting statements that did not align with the evidence. However, after 5 hours of questioning, and when the police brought up the relationship between the victim and his uncle, Huang Jin lost his composure and confessed to killing Yongdong. His confession marked a critical breakthrough in the case, bringing the investigation closer to resolving the tragic and complex events surrounding the murder. Hatred and family trauma, the root of the crime. Huang Jin confessed that the victim, Fan Yongdong, was someone who deserved to die, and recounted the events that led to his actions. He grew up with a deep emotional wound. His mother was a mistress, a homewrecker who disrupted the marriage of a powerful man. Huang Jin was the product of this extramarital affair. In his eyes, his mother was the source of his family's shame and suffering. From a young age, he endured ridicule from peers as the child without a father and faced discrimination from adults. This hatred toward his mother and those who destroyed families festered in his heart, fueling his rage whenever he recalled the cold, dismissive gaze of his father, a man who never acknowledged him. Determined to be different, Huang Jin vowed to avoid becoming like his mother. However, fate had other plans when he found himself drawn to Yongdong, a person who similarly defied societal norms in his relationships. Initially, when Yongdong dated Huang Jin's friend, Huishi, Huang Jin was captivated by his feminine, petite appearance and magnetic charm. Yet, he resolved not to interfere in someone else's relationship. Throughout their relationship, Huang Jin suppressed his feelings and silently observed from afar. Despite knowing that Yongdong was not an ideal romantic partner, Huang Jin could not resist the overwhelming emotions stirring within him. This forbidden love quietly ignited a storm in his heart. When he learned that Huishi had broken up with Yongdong because he had come out as gay, Huang Jin felt a glimmer of hope. With newfound courage, Huang Jin confessed his feelings to Yongdong, only to be rejected. Even so, he did not give up on his love, continuing to watch over the victim. Over time, he discovered that Yongdong was being picked up by an older, more successful man. Though envious, Huang Jin tried to accept the situation. Everything changed when Huang Jin discovered the older man was none other than his uncle, Huang Shu, a figure he had always respected and admired. This revelation was a storm of emotions, tearing him apart with love, hatred, and betrayal. Huang Shu was a role model for Huang Jin, a successful real estate developer with a seemingly perfect family, wife and daughter included. Huang Jin admired his uncle, often hearing glowing stories about him from his cousin. However, upon learning about the affair between Yongdong and his uncle, Huang Jin could no longer see the victim as a lover. Instead, he saw him as an enemy, the embodiment of everything he loathed. Painful memories of his mother, who was also a mistress and scorned by society, flooded Huang Jin's mind. In his eyes, Yongdong symbolized the kind of destruction he had sworn to eliminate. Initially, when Huishi shared that Yongdong had exploited her for money, Huang Jin dismissed it. But upon realizing that the victim rejected his love while choosing to date his wealthy uncle, Huang Jin concluded that Yongdong was nothing more than a homewrecker, breaking up families for personal gain. Huang Jin's internal collapse reached its peak as he recognized that the person he loved was the very kind of individual he despised, a reflection of his mother. He spiraled into a vortex of conflicting emotions, love, hatred, possessiveness, and an inability to accept the truth about Yongdong's character. For Huang Jin, his love felt like a sin, and the victim became the source of all his suffering. To him, the only way to end his torment was to destroy Yongdong and free himself from the chains of his tragic love. Huang Jin's act of murder stemmed not only from rejected love, but also from deep-seated hatred toward homewreckers like his mother and a desire to avenge the pains of his past. At the same time, it was an attempt to liberate himself from the emotional turmoil that consumed him. The perpetrator's elaborate plan and final judgment. On August 18th, Huang Jin set his plan in motion. He messaged all the members of the group, inviting them on a trip to Sanya, creating the perfect opportunity to execute the crime he had meticulously prepared for. On August 21st, the group boarded a plane and arrived at a villa in the outskirts of Sanya at around 2 p.m. They began shopping for food to prepare for a barbecue party that evening. The afternoon was spent arranging and preparing everything, and by nightfall, the party was in full swing. It lasted until past 1 a.m., after which the group gradually returned to their rooms to rest. Once everything had quieted down, Huang Jian went to Fan Yongdong's room and invited him out to the pool for more drinks. Claiming he wanted to talk, Yongdong, unsuspecting, agreed to join him. At the pool, Huang Jian had prepared wine spiked with an aphrodisiac. Initially, his plan was only to murder Yongdong. However, his conflicting feelings of love and hatred overwhelmed him. After a few drinks, Yongdong began feeling hot and decided to strip naked and enter the pool to cool off. Seizing the suggestive atmosphere, Huang Jian also entered the pool. What happened next went beyond his original plan. Under the influence of alcohol and the drug, Huang Jian engaged in sexual activity with the victim in the pool. Over time, Yongdong became exhausted due to the effects of the alcohol, drugs, and physical activity in the water. Taking advantage of this state, Huang Jian forcefully held the victim's head underwater until he drowned. After ensuring his death, Huang Jian threw the wine glasses and bottle into the pool, disabled the security cameras, and went to the hallway where he checked the victim's phone. Upon discovering intimate photos of Yongdong with his uncle, Huang Shu, Huang Jian was overcome with rage. Instead of disposing of the phone as originally planned, he smashed it in anger. He then returned to his room and tried to act as though nothing had happened. Huang Jian formulated a plan to evade the police, intending to stay at a friend's house until his flight to South Korea. However, the police tracked his movements and arrested him before he could flee. The investigation concluded that Huang Jian's actions constituted premeditated murder. The deliberate act of drowning the victim in the pool, combined with his deep-seated hatred and detailed planning, made the crime particularly heinous. The court ruled that Huang Jian must take full responsibility for his actions. The judges sentenced him to death, citing the calculated nature of the crime, the use of violence, and his unrepentant hatred as aggravating factors. This case was not just a murder. It was a tragic reflection of deeply rooted psychological wounds, conflicting emotions of love and hatred, and a love twisted by painful memories and betrayal. Huang Jian's actions were more than personal revenge. They were the manifestation of unhealed emotional scars. The case serves as a stark reminder of how suppressed emotions, hatred, and unresolved trauma can push someone into the depths of darkness and crime. What are your thoughts on today's case? Share your opinions in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more gripping cases from around the world. See you in the next video.